Is up, everybody? It's been a minute. We've been a little bit of like a week on, week off thing here since the new year. Not sure why. Not been much to talk about, but yeah, Jerry gave us something to talk about. I was gonna record yesterday or today either way, but boy, oh boy, do we got something to talk about, y'all. Jorge Polanco's a Mariner. And if you listened to the last episode, you know I wanted Senor Jorge Polanco. So let's talk a little bit about that. Might be a lot. So we'll talk about that, obviously. We'll talk about what the projected lineup's looking like. We will talk about Samad Taylor and Nick Solak, who both got acquired today, both probably for depth, but we'll touch on them. Then we'll talk about if I believe Jerry and co will do anything more, or if there's anything left truly to do to make this lineup and to make this roster complete for this season, to not only feel comfortable, but feel good going into the season. Then, obviously, as always, we'll finish with the Seattle Sports Wraparound. We'll go Kraken, Sounders, Seahawks. Let's get into it, y'all. Alright, so I won't lie. Let's start Mariners, but when the news on Twitter was going crazy, you get the eye emojis. If you follow on Mariners Twitter, if you're in Mariners land, as I like to call it. If you were in Mariners land yesterday morning, around, what was that, 9:30, 9:40 a.m. yesterday, you saw the eyes from Twitter just as we saw the day of the Robbie Ray trade and the Luke Raley trade. And my head was spinning, I won't lie. I was at school. I was just thinking all day, what could this be? And it took all day. And not once did Jorge Polanco cross my mind. Even after saying just a few weeks ago and believing and been saying it since then that Jorge Polanco is my top target. Never in a million years did I think the Mariners were going to go acquire this guy. Oh, but oh my, did they. Jerry. Or should I give the credit to Justin? I mean, DePoto said this morning on 710 that Justin made over 100 calls to the Twins over the course of the last few years about this trade. And I mean, I understand why. Let's look at it, all right? 2021 was his last full season. All right? He hit 33 home runs as a second baseman. 33 home runs. With 98 RBIs that year. All right? Very, very good season. He hit 269, 323 on base, 503 slugging. 503 slugging. Slug over 500. All right? OPS 826. OPS plus 125. This dude hits. He's underrated. He's one of the best second basemen in the league. Best year of his career was 2019. All right? He hit 295, 356, 485 for an 841 OPS. While only hitting 22 home runs that year. But he hit 40 doubles that year. He had 631 at-bats this year. Or that year, sorry. He drove in 79 runs that year. He walked 60 times to only 116 times that he struck out that year. For an OPS plus of 121. Jorge Polanco's a hitter, y'all. He is a hitter. And am I overhyping it? Maybe. But I don't care. Per Fangraphs WAR, 2021, he was worth 4.2 wins. All right? That is his best season. By far, that is his best season when it comes to WAR. 2019, which I said again, was his best season per OPS. He was worth 3.3 WAR per Fangraphs. And if you don't know what WAR is, let me explain. WAR is wins above replacement. So basically what it's accounting for is your value, how many wins you give to your team that year. Now, it's not perfectly accurate, blah, 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 blah. Who cares? It is a system. Every system's going to be flawed in baseball. but it's a system that is going to give you a representation of the player's value, whether that's just offensive or whether that's just defensive. All right. Now looking at Zips projected. All right, Zips projected this year. Let's look at some stats. He's projected 19 home runs. He's projected to strike out 22% of the time. That's fine. Projected to walk 9.8% of the time. All right. He's expected to have a slash of 255, 331, 444, which would give you an OPS of 775. WRC plus of 114. Be beyond, please. And he's supposed to give you 2.4 wins. 2.5 wins. That's plenty. In a second base position that has been, I don't even want to say a black hole. It has been a super massive black hole since Robinson Cano left, since Robinson Cano tested positive for PEDs. Dude decided, oh, I'm going to get juiced. It's been a black hole since then. All right. And Polanco, he's going to fill that. Talking to people today, people may not realize how good of a hitter this dude is, how good of a player this dude is, but he's a good hitter. All right. He's in his age 30 season. All right. He is a below average fielder according to specific metrics. All right. He's below average in fielding, but he's a hitter. All right. And you got your guys working on him as a defender. As long as he hits, I'm not going to ask for a ton more. All right. If he defends at even an average level, this dude is going to bring you a lot. All right. This dude will walk. This dude will not strike out a ton. This dude will hit the ball on the barrel, on the sweet spot. This dude will slug. This dude's going to be a player for you. All right? And he's going to fill that second place, super massive black hole that I've been talking about. Mariners land has been missing a second baseman that can hit. This dude is top 5 second baseman over the past 3 or 4 years, maybe 5 years even. This dude is a very, very good second baseman. All right? He's going to hit. He'll probably be your second baseman. He might be able to play third if you want him to, but he's going to be your second baseman. He's switch hitting, 5'11", 208. Last season, let's look at his stats, all right? A little bit injury riddled. And this is where the worry is going to creep into some Mariners fans. But don't get it mixed up, okay? Don't get this idea that, oh, it's a bad trade because he has the risk of getting injured. Every player has the risk of getting injured. Every single player. Julio could have that risk. And sure, Polanco's gotten injured in the past. But he's not getting the Mitch Haniger type of injuries where it's like totally random and it's happening over and over and over again. The Polanco injuries are because he's pushing himself, partially. I don't want to say always, but he's pushing himself to keep pushing through those injuries, keep playing through those injuries. That's the type of dude I want on my team. This dude's been working out with Julio in the offseason. Again, type of dude I want on my damn team. I'm beyond pleased. All day I've been living in joy. Not livid. Don't get that mixed up. I've been living. I've been excited. I've been joyful. I've been bashful, you could say. What a word that is. But getting into it again. Last year, Polanco only played 80 games. He was injured. You went back and forth and back and forth. But when he was healthy, he was a solid hitter. 789 OPS. All right. That is a good hitter for your team. All right. Polanco's gonna fill a second base spot. And I've said this, but I'm gonna say it again. Filling that supermassive black hole. Okay. Looking at OPS last season, that 789 OPS that Polanco had, do you know what that would have ranked for the Mariners last year? I'll tell you it's top 5. And unfortunately, it's not 1 or 2, but it's also not 4 or 5. He slotted in, if you're just looking at OPS, at the 3rd spot on your team last year. Now, he played less games than Jared Kelnick did in 4, or Teoscar Hernandez did in 5, or even Eugenio Suarez or Ty France did in 6 and 7. However, he was 3rd in OPS. Looking at a few other stats, when we talk about OPS plus, that's another important stat. OPS plus is your OPS, which is on base percentage, plus your slugging. All right. And it's adjusting it to your ballpark and a few other things. OPS plus last year, when you're comparing it to the Mariners, he OPS plussed 115 both the last 2 years. Okay. Last year, again, ranks 3rd. Cal Raleigh was 4th with a 112 OPS plus. Julio was 2nd after JP Crawford with a 128. JP had a 131 OPS plus. Polanco's a great hitter. Okay, don't get this mixed up. He's going to hit for your ball club. When he's healthy, he's going to hit. And right now, this is one of the strong suits of this Mariners roster right now. This is one of, if not the most depth the Mariners have had, seasons-wise, under Jerry DiPoto and Scott Service. And definitely the most since the rebuild started in 2019. This team's depth is very good. We'll get into that later with Samad Taylor and Nick Solak, who both signed today, January 30th. But let's stick with Jorge Polanco. Walk percentage last year was 76th percentile, according to Baseball Savant. Okay? 55th percentile sprint speed. So he's not slow. He's not fast by any means, but he's not slow. Sweet spot percentage, 94th percentile. Barrel percentage, 89th percentile. Expected slugging, 82nd percentile. All 3 of those, what do they show? He's going to hit the ball. He's going to hit it off the bat where he needs to hit it. And maybe his hard hit percentage is about average. But if you're hitting it off the barrel, you're going to hit it far. And maybe that doesn't mean you're hitting it at 113, 114 average exit velo. You're not going to hit it that hard always. But you're hitting it to a point where you're getting doubles, you're getting extra base hits, and that's why his slugging has been pretty freaking good over the course of his career. Let's look at slugging last year now, okay? Slugging. Slugged .454 last year. Where does that rank on the Mariners? 3rd. Cal Raleigh was right in front of him in 2nd with .456. So they're about the same there. Now, obviously, Cal Raleigh had a lot more at-bats than Jorge Polanco did last year. But when Polanco, again, when he stays healthy for a whole season, this dude's going to hit for you. He's going to be between 800 and 850 OPS probably, if he stays healthy. I would say 800 OPS plus or minus 50. If I were to put a betting anything, if I were to put that on a plus minus, that's what I would say. Polanco has been an all-star one time in 2019. Again, when you're looking at most statistics, that was his best year. But not when you're talking about WAR, not when you're talking about home runs. Okay? Polanco's going to hit. I mean, it's simple as that. And he's going to give you some stability in an infield where you needed some pretty strong stability. All right? Before this trade, you were looking at one of Rojas or Urias at 2nd and the other at 3rd. Now, you're looking at the tandem of them playing together, platooning basically. Maybe it's not a complete platoon type thing, but it's similar. And you're doing that at 3rd base while you have a stable Jorge Polanco at 2nd base. All right? And let's say Polanco does get hurt. Okay, you slot in Urias at second base then. And then you bring up a Sam Haggerty to fill in that role, or a Ryan Bliss at some point if you'd like to. You see where I'm going with this. You get these injuries, but you have dudes that you can pencil them in, and you don't feel terrible about them. And that's where this roster I feel better about than especially last year, but many years prior. It's very good. It's amazing, truly. And I want to applaud Jerry DiPoto. So let's give him an applause. Give him his applause. Jerry DiPoto, with the restraints given to him by ownership, has done better than I can imagine. Better than I could have dreamed of. I mean, if you go back and listen to the first few episodes of the podcast, you listen to them from when the Geno trade happened, from when the Kelnick trade happened. Look, y'all, I had zero faith in this team looking at next year. Right now, I have more faith than I've had all offseason because their lineup, as it stands, is better than it was last year. And their bullpen, you've subtracted a few pieces probably, but knowing this Mariners pitching development group, they're going to develop a pretty good pitcher probably. And you still have Prelander Baroa. And you still have Munoz. And you still have Brash. The back of your bullpen's looking like Saucedo, Spire, Brash, and Munoz. Especially Brash and Munoz. And maybe you go get another one. And maybe that is where the next move is, as I'll get into in a little bit. But this team is deep. And Jorge Polanco is a fantastic addition to add to this team. Truly. Underrated. He's been playing in Minnesota, a very hard ballpark to hit in, and he's been a good hitter. Keep him healthy, keep him rested, and he's going to hit for you. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see what he can do. I'm excited to see the presence he brings in the clubhouse. To see him play every day, to suit up in the Mariners Northwest green, in the Mariners navy blue, in the Mariners trident hat, whatever you want to see him suit up in. I cannot wait to see him throw on those threads, throw on that cap, throw on the shades, throw on the cleats. And let's get into it. I cannot wait for spring training to start. We are only a few weeks away from pitchers and catchers. We're getting there. And it feels like this roster is pretty complete. Now let's get into a few of the minor moves the Mariners made today. Samad Taylor was acquired for cash considerations or a player to be named later from the Kansas City Royals. Royals did this to clear space for Adam Frazier, former Mariner. Yuck. Adam Frazier, yeah. So, Samad Taylor. He was a decent prospect. Basically, I mean, he hasn't done much in the majors. He's had what? How many at-bats? He's had 60 at-bats in the major leagues in 69 games. So, I mean, he doesn't really have much experience there, but he's fast. In those 60 games, he's 91st percentile in speed. Okay. That's something you want to see. That's something you want to hear. Last year, he had a good season in the minors in AAA. Slash line 302 418 466 for an 884 OPS. Obviously, you can't really take everything from that, but the dude's fast. All right, he's gonna be in AAA. He's a depth piece. As I've been talking about, it's important to continue to add to this depth. It's important to keep this depth. It's important to do all that. Because, I mean, you need depth on this team. And having, especially with all these injury-prone, injury history players, you need dudes that are gonna, come up and not be god-awful when they do. So I think Samad Taylor is basically for that reason, and he's fast. So if you need him late in the season to steal some bases or just to be a pinch runner, yeah, you can go have him do that. Yeah, I wouldn't say much to it otherwise. That's about what I got for that. Nick Solak is a little bit different, basically the same, but a little bit different. Let me pull up his stats. So Nick Solak, He has had some experience in the majors. That's the difference. In 2020, 58 games, 233 plate appearances, hit 268, 326, 344, 671 OPS. Yeah, I mean, not much there. In the Juiced Ball 2019 season, he had 135 plate appearances, 293, 393. Wow. 491, 884 OPS. I mean, that's his best stretch of games for sure. 2021, he hit 11 home runs, 677 OPS, 87 OPS plus that year. I mean, again, he's depth. Dude with major league experience, maybe not a ton, but a dude with a little bit of major league experience. You're going to go see what he can do. I mean, it's probably not much, but we'll go see what he can do, and hopefully he can do something. He will play second, he can play left, he can play third. So again, it gives you depth, it gives you backup options in a lot of positions. So I like it for those reasons. Yeah, so I mean, just continuing on that little thread. Basically, the Mariners have added depth today. Yesterday they added Jorge Polanco, big addition. Probably, I would say it's pretty close to Garver in top addition of the year, if you want to think about it that way. But I don't know if you do. It's a good addition. It's this past 2 days they've been active. Jerry's been cooking. So for all I care, something else could have happened while I've been recording. Let's see. Um, I did see. I just want to say this real quick. Projected WRC plus projections for the team. Shortstop JP 112, second base Jorge Polanco 115, Julio 132, Mitch Garver 113, Cal, who is tied for lowest with Mitch Canzone, not Mitch Canzone, Jesus, with Canzone at 110, France and Rayleigh respectively 114, 126 for Rayleigh. Again, Rayleigh 126, Mitch Haniger 114, Julio Urias 112, Rojas at 113. I mean, it's all at least 110 WRC plus. That's at least 10 points above average. I praise Jerry again. It's truly so impressive what he's done, and I love it. So let's see what happens there. Your lineup right now is probably, it's hard to think about because I don't know exactly where they want to put Polanco. But versus left-handed pitchers, let's try that first because this is probably going to be closer to your more accurate lineup. You'd probably have JP leading off, probably Julio hitting second, Garver 3, Cal 4, Polanco slots in at 5, Rayleigh 6, Haniger 7, France and Urias will close it out 8 and 9. If you're wondering what that looks like in terms of lefty righty splits, not splits, but lefty righty, JP and Rayleigh are the only lefties. They're pretty spread out. Two switch hitters are Cal and Polanco. They're right next to each other at 4 and 5. The rest are all righties. Versus right-handed hitters, where it gets a little bit more interesting, you're going to have JP probably leading off again, Julio probably next, and just because I was thinking about it from a straight stance of having that lefty-righty, lefty-righty, lefty-righty type thing, I'd go Polanco 3, Garver 4, Cal Raleigh at 5, Rayleigh and Canzone at 6 and 7, France at 8, Rojas closing it out at 9. So I think pretty much your locks right now are you're going to have JP Julio leading off and then hitting second, and you're going to have Rojas or Urias at the 9 spot on any given night when they're healthy. Your bench right now, looking like backup catchers, probably Sebi Zavala. You're going to have whoever in terms of outfielders, infielders, it's going to be Urias, Haniger, or Rojas, Canzone, or any mix of those four. And then you're also going to have Dylan Moore as your utility guy. And you have a lot of depth. A lot of depth. So you're looking good there. What more can and should Jerry do? Honestly, I'm not angry. say, if this is the roster we go into next season with. The season, y'all, it's only 2 months away. Less than 2 months away. That is fantastic. That makes me so happy. I'm so excited for the season. I'm so ready to get into it. I hope we make the playoffs. I think we probably will. We'll do an episode of projections closer to the season. But we got to see what else teams around us do. Obviously, the Astros signed Josh Hader, which sucks a little bit, but they give him a lot of money. So I'm not sure how that'll work out for them. But in terms of the Mariners itself, obviously you can go get another big bat, but you're not forcing yourself into it. And I think that's the beauty of where your roster's at right now. If somebody goes and blows you away, you can go do it, and you can go fill in the needs and whatever. You can go get another outfielder, but you don't have to, and that's the beauty of it. You kept your rotation completely intact while making your roster better than it was last year. And again, it's truly brilliant by Jerry DiPoto. It's a work of art, what he has done. So thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Justin. It's fantastic work, truly. It truly is. It's time for Seattle Sports Wraparound, yo. Let's start with the Kraken. Speedrun this. 3-game point streak. They are playing tonight. They are 2 points back of a wild card spot right now. Big time shirt, guys. Big time. They're 2 points back of the Kings, the Blues, the Predators. Those are the 3 teams ahead of them in the wild card race. Kings have played 47 games. Blues have played 48. Predators have played 50. Kraken have played 49. All right? You see where I'm going with this? There is very much a spot for the Kraken to go do this. They're playing a bad team tonight in the San Jose Sharks. That is a game you should win. Let's go win. Second worst team in the Western Conference. So again, let's go win. Tied for worst team in the league. Again, let's go make a move. That's maybe not a move is the move, but let's go win some games. Let's go make the playoffs. So yeah, go Kraken. Sounders, Pedro de la Vega, official, the Argentinian, 20. He's very young. He's like 20 or 21, 22, I think. He's gonna fit in at either a winger or a 10 spot. Your top lineup right now, Rudiaz probably up top. I mean, this is where it gets interesting, y'all. Personally, I'd probably go Morris left, De La Vega on the right. I would go Rusnak at the 10. I'd probably go Roldan and Japalo at the 6 and the 8. Left back's Nuhu. Center back's the same as last year, Reagan and Yamar. Right back's going to be Alex Roldan. And your goalkeeper is Stefan Fra. So yeah, gives them versatility. Leo Chu then does not have to start. They needed a player up there that was younger and that could just run around and that is probably going to be your best player. So don't want to jinx it, but knock on wood. Go Sounders, let's go. Seahawks, who's going to be the coach? We saw Ben Johnson today said he's not going to accept either job from the Washington Commanders or the Seattle Seahawks. So it's basically between Dan Quinn and Mike McDonald, more than likely, unless there's a few other. Mike Kafka, I've heard, is into it. Basically, go get Mike McDonald. Yeah, that's what I got for you. So thank you all for listening. Go Kraken. Go Sounders. Go Seahawks. Let's keep Mariners land positive, fun. Go Mariners, y'all. Peace.